Oh, what's up, guys? Welcome to an all-new episode of Convos on the Pedicab. We are here with famous Twitter personality Teddy Brosevelt.
Woo!
That's right, guys. He's come out of hiding. He's come out of hiding. He's come out of his cave on the computer. We're gonna have a very broad and a very serious discussion about the face of Austin politics and what's gonna happen nationally and what we should expect moving forward. Before we get started, both of us, we're wearing masks. It's Halloween. This is the all-new Halloween special of Convos on the Pedicab. We're slowing the spread of coronavirus. And most importantly, we want to protect Teddy's identity. So we got the mask for a multitude of reasons. So that being said, Teddy, we're so happy to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us how this alter ego and this persona really got started.
Oh, Alex, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me on the show. To the people watching, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I did not want to wear the mask, but Alex insisted as the blockbuster Halloween special that we both had to be in costume. I don't care if I dox myself. I have nothing to hide. I want to thank you for doing this podcast. It's an awesome civic duty, and as I've mentioned on Twitter multiple times, what you did as a city council candidate to put your support behind Casey Ramos and then not only support him, but actually go out and block walk with him. Pure class. You should be commended, and that's why you're my nomination for 2020 Austin End of the Year, Alex. And that's really sincere.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I didn't do this for any award. I didn't do this for any awards or recognition. I really just did this because I want to stay in Austin. And, a person like Casey Ramos gives people like myself the best shot at being able to stay here while being our own independent entities. So especially with the way in which the city is growing, and you combine that with the fact that our mayor and city council are weaponizing a virus in order to slow down small businesses and actively prevent people like myself from participating and benefiting from the growth. And that's what it really seems like with how they're going about these shutdowns. So what's your take on all that, Teddy?
I love what Casey said about expanding the bus routes. You look in Dallas-Fort Worth today, they have sticker shock from an $86 million public transportation proposal. $86 million. We're talking about $7.3 billion with a B. Fort Worth, they're like $86 million. We could solve the public transportation system with more frequent bus routes and to put more stops. That gets people around a lot quicker, and it doesn't have that giant price tag. So I really love what Casey said about that. But was that the question?
Well, people could also subscribe to, just a whole multitude of factors. But, since we're talking about the Project Connect, people can also, there's nothing stopping people from being able to subscribe to a Revel scooter or a Lime or like a micro-mobility device to have at their house so that they can use it as like a missing middle piece to get to the bus when they have to go somewhere.
Charlie, if you have the Charlie behind the camera, if you have the stat, if you look at the ridership numbers, Cat Metro data for July, there was 1,300 riders the entire month. 1,300. That's 41.9 riders per day. So almost the entire Project Connect bill is for the light rail, and we have 41.9 riders per day. It was 1,800 in August, so it went up to 53. But we literally could buy each one of those people a Ferrari Testarossa with a gas card and unlimited miles, and let them get a new car every 5 years, and we'd still have $7.2 billion left. Whoa. Buying everyone a car, 7.1.
That's a lot to process. But the thing about the rail too is that it's on an old freight line. Like they built a rail on a freight line, which is where the original rail is. And you got to also factor in that we're in a pandemic, and this is not going to last forever, right? But as a result of the pandemic, companies are going to be doing a lot of budget cuts and realizing that a lot of more people can just work from home. So a lot less people are going to be commuting to work as a result of the pandemic, just organically. So train ridership has decreased by like 20% over the past 2 decades.
More than that. And the bus routes, the top 5 bus routes on Cap Metro have all dropped by 50%. And they've leveled off. It's not like, oh, everyone freaked out March, April, May, June, and then it got back to normal. It's settled in. So you're talking about under 55 riders per day. Metro Rail, it's literally 4 an hour.
Yeah, it also doesn't make sense to have a land code based on density while you're in a pandemic, and urban density is literally how you spread pandemics. So a lot of this stuff, when you think about it, it seems like they're doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing for the sake of public health.
The exact opposite. And then you look, the Doherty Art Center, Doherty, Doherty.
Yeah.
So they, in the city council, approved $20 million to build a brand new art center. Now, there's no plays going on right now. There's no events going on right now. You're not allowed to be there. They could barely come up with $5 million for our music venues, but they found $20 million to build a brand new art center. I forget. It's on the shores of a lake.
Yeah, Auditorium Shores. I know where that is.
In a park. The whole thing is, if you ask anyone in Austin, where was your most memorable cultural experience or arts experience? It wasn't watching a play, an off-Broadway play at the Doherty Art Center. It was 6th Street, Red River, Antone's, Emos, you name it. It was something like that. And it just, the juxtaposition of on the ground, and you probably know downtown Austin better than anyone riding around. I mean, it is stunning, the quality of life, how much it's deteriorated since March.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to come back a little bit, but here's the thing, right?
I didn't feel safe down there on Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon.
Really?
Taking photos when I did the video with the homeless people. No, it didn't feel safe. Everything was boarded up. There was no business owners around if anything went wrong, and I was outnumbered by vagrants 10-1. 10-1 in downtown Austin on the Tuesday at 2.
So I'm not really so concerned so much with safety with all this homeless stuff. Most of these guys are just like crackheads, and they're kind of just want to do their drugs, and all they want is money. Like, they're not nobody's like been physically aggressive towards me, or
what are you
it's been very
what are you talking about?
For me,
I'm
talking about me.
Didn't your buddy just get jumped on the pedicab?
Not by a homeless guy. Not by a homeless guy. He didn't get jumped by a homeless guy, so that's got nothing to do with the homeless.
So there was a murder on Riverside. You saw that, I'm sure.
Well,
2 people got shot.
Yeah,
okay.
let me finish what I'm saying.
Sorry.
I'm just trying to tell you what my specific concern is as someone who's downtown.
Right on.
All the
Sorry for interrupting.
That's all I want to talk about, because I
Continue.
get all that shit, man. Like, I see the citizen app. I know that we're heading down a very dangerous trajectory. But as for where we are right now, it's still okay. And this discussion needs to be had within the lens of reality, Teddy. All right.
The lens of reality. How many did the homeless population increase or decrease?
Can I please finish what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
About what my biggest concern is, because I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying, but I want to tell you realistically what I've noticed with the homeless. Okay, and it's that there's a lot of them, and it's not so much like, for me, like, I don't feel any less safe with the homeless. Okay, the problem is that it's economically, it's really detrimental when you have a surplus of homeless people hanging around a bar district asking people for money. You know, I was downtown last night, and there was this homeless guy that was literally walking up to people and just saying this, like, can I have $1? 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 And this was right in front of Rapolo's. And it's, you know, the guy who's like trying to make the pizza and whatnot, that spot is losing business. And because of that homeless guy consistently asking people for money, people might be less likely to actually tip the guy making the pizza at Rapolo's, because they just want the homeless guy to shut up and leave him alone. And that's not fair to hardworking people. And when you have too many homeless people camping out right in the middle of 6th Street, it hurts traffic going into these bars, and they're already struggling economically as a result of that. And then third, when it comes to trying to like sell rides for me, and there are a million homeless people, like, it makes it a little bit harder to get people in your cab, because now people have a wall and a defense mechanism in terms of when they're being approached because of all the homeless people. That's what my concerns are, and that's how I realistically feel about this.
Okay, but you've seen there's so much, there's many indecent exposure issues. The Royal Blue Grocery owner said he had to close one store. He had to hire full-time security for the other 2 stores because the shoplifting is so bad. His employees were getting assaulted, and everyone coming in and out of the business is getting accosted by homeless people. So it does have the business impact, but it's just not an enjoyable you don't look forward to
going downtown,
that type of environment.
Yeah, no, I've had bar owners come on my thing, and they've told me how since they repealed the camping ban, they've noticed a lot less traffic in their bars than within downtown. So I understand all of that stuff. Like, you know, when you enable vagrancy, you are hurting people like myself and people in the service industry, and you're preventing them from making a comfortable living. And when you're going to enact policies that make Austin more and more and more expensive, you know, and then you're then you're doubling down on that by making it harder for people to actually live comfortably because you're enabling homelessness. Like, how do you think this is going to make people feel about the homeless? Like, you know, I actually gave a lot more money to homeless people before the camping ban got overturned.
Yeah. Every day the homeless population increases because other cities in Texas are sending their homeless here. A lot of homeless get government checks. It's cold. Homeless migrate. Homeless people migrate to the south for the winter. They're snowbirds. You don't want to stay up in the cold in Omaha. So everyone knows you can come to Austin and set up a riverfront tent, and it's totally legal. And the reason Austin is using to justify not cleaning up, and you see, what's his name, Kevin Harlow, I want to say, he's been documenting since February. It's right in his backyard. He's got a drone. I don't know if you've seen my Twitter, but he's got a drone, and there's homeless people throwing rocks up at the drone because they don't like it. He doesn't like there's needles. He's literally dozens and dozens of needles. And yeah, I hear a lot of people call into KLBJ the last couple weeks, and they'll call into like the Todd and Don show, and they'll throw out the disclaimer, look, I'm not voting for Trump. I don't agree with a lot of what you guys say, but, and then they just bash the leadership of Austin, Texas, from Mayor Adler to Greg Cesar to the entire city council. And I really feel Austin has such an intelligent population, and the decline has been so shocking. I don't think
they're that intelligent, bro.
I do.
I hope you're wrong, but
I think that people, it's impossible to ignore how much Austin has changed since July 2019 and the acceleration in March.
I think that that's definitely woken people up.
Mm-hmm.
But look, the city of Austin voted against Prop J. They voted to not have they voted to deliberately not give themselves a vote on the city's next land code. That's not very intelligent.
I agree. I think a lot of people weren't paying attention to Austin city politics until 2020 with COVID. It's a perfect storm of factors. The Corona lockdown has destroyed so many businesses, so many iconic Austin businesses, from Shady Grove to Threadgills to you name it. And you have Project Connect, the timing of it, and just the juxtaposition where people are just trying to pay rent next month, and this is going to be effective January 2021. Your property taxes are going to go up from the city of Austin 25%.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. But do you think? What's your prediction for how this is going to turn out?
I think all the polls are wrong.
I'm not talking about president. I want to just locally. Let's talk about this locally, and then we can talk about the presidential stuff. We're going to talk about that later. But for now, how do you predict things? What are your predictions for how things go locally? And I'm not talking about what do you want. I don't care about what you want to see locally because we already know what you want to see locally.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us want probably pretty similar stuff. Mm-hmm. We want to know, just objectively speaking, what do you predict? How do your neighbors feel? How do your friends feel? How do the people you see at the coffee shop feel? How do
But my friends who are homeowners are definitely voting against it.
Okay.
Proposition A. My friends who are millennials, I have a lot of Democrat friends. They're probably going to vote for it.
They're going to vote for it. I know a lot of Democrat
friends.
They
probably are going to vote for it. And you look at how it's written. Whoever wrote it is a genius because the first two paragraphs are jobs, healthcare, education, climate change, jobs. It hits all. Who wouldn't?
Well, how does that improve? How does a rail improve healthcare?
Access. Well, it's all. It's going to provide better access to it. The whole thing is just the hot button words that they put on. Like, it's going to provide more jobs. Like, what kind of jobs? Building a tunnel for 4 years? That's a temporary construction job that's going to last 1,200 days. So.
Sure. No, I understand that. I mean, it definitely can get people in certain underserved areas to work if they can't afford a car. I mean, I lived in New York and all that stuff definitely did help.
Mm-hmm.
But here are the concerns, though, right? And if you're going to raise taxes by 25% and do all that stuff, people are going to you're not going to be able to get as much for your job anyway. So even if it helps you get to work easier, the job that you have, it's not going to help you pay your bills. So what does it really do? Right? You know, having a job is great, but if the job that you have isn't going to help you pay your bills, and if you're going to if Austin's going to become 25% more expensive, your job is going to be 25% less effective at helping you live comfortably, and that's something that people need to understand.
Mm-hmm. And it's not going to be done for 13 years. They haven't even started in engineering. They don't even know if it's feasible to blow up. I mean, downtown business are already struggling, so you're going to tear up South Congress for 5 blocks for 3 years? What's that going to do to downtown businesses? It's going to destroy. No one's going to want to go down there. It's going to be a traffic nightmare. If you look, even Allison Alder was like, I don't know if this is the best time to do this. Maybe we should push it back. And according to the Austin Chronicle, the reason why they pushed it through is because they're under the impression there's going to be a blue wave of a lot of young people who hate Trump that are going to be on board with public transportation. And so that's why it's on the ballot at this election and not 2020 when it's more of an older, or not 2022. I'm sorry, I forgot what year it was.
2021 or something, yeah.
Yeah, whenever the next one would be, it would be an older, more conservative constituency.
They're definitely right, though. And the thing about Austin, too, is that it's growing so fast, and it is all young people who are renters that are moving here. And it's a lot of renters who, you know, are, like, fresh out of college. They've never, like, lived on their own before. They're used to kind of mom and dad being able to, like, kind of take care of a lot of things for them, and they're just getting started. And when I was just getting started, I had a much different view of the world than I do now. So
Absolutely.
You have a large demographic of people like that. There's a very good chance that this rail is probably going to pass, to be honest. If you want to know my honest opinion, this rail is probably going to pass.
Well, they're nervous because they held a press conference. Mayor Adler, Chaz Moore, they wouldn't be holding a press conference. And he actually said, Mayor Adler, he's just gaslighting. He's like, yeah, there's dirty money involved. That's how he described Voices of Austin, because it's not a PAC. It's a nonprofit, so they don't have to disclose.
Well, but how much dirty money is Adler getting?
That's the thing.
That's kind of weird, too.
For him to use
like
dirty money, I mean, if you look at Jimmy Flanagan, 90% of his campaign financing is from real estate developers.
Is it 90? No, I thought it was like 60-something. I don't think it's 90.
Huge
It's
percentage.
a pretty big number, though.
It's way bigger than Mackenzie Kelly, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You just get the sense that they are doing these deals for the benefit. A lot of them have real estate background, so it's like far left agenda. I really think this is the pivotal. This is going to decide the future of Austin. If all the incumbents win in city council, you're asking for my prediction. I think Mackenzie Kelly has the best chance of unseating an incumbent. Jimmy Flanagan has went AWOL. He hasn't made a public appearance in 7 or 8 weeks, except for his podcast and the Zoom calls.
Yeah, I think that Mackenzie definitely has the best shot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Casey? What do you think about Casey's shot?
I hope, man. I see him, tweeting. There's a lot of first-time voters, and I know that he's got a lot of charisma. You can tell, and he's connecting. So it really,
he's gotten a lot of love, dude. When I've been at the polls, a lot of people get like very excited for Casey.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the most enthusiasm out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these PACs have definitely been sending mailers out, which is going to help.
Yep.
I think that David and Vanessa probably can split the vote between them. So Casey can get his segment of the vote.
Yep.
I think that I may have helped him a little bit.
Yes, you did.
Because I don't know how much, though, but I definitely...
Dude, you got how many votes for mayor? 3,000, 4,000?
I got 3,000, but that's for the whole city.
I know.
District 2 is small.
But still, you got a couple hundred I'm sure you made an influence, man.
I'm sure maybe 100 people maybe like probably changed their vote because of me. That's probably what I think it is. It's nothing like super crazy though.
That's if you just did it for one vote. I mean, I think Louis Heron III has the toughest challenge.
That guy's got no chance.
Well, he's running against Cesar. I met with him, did a couple videos with Robert, and Louis, he's got a 40-hour a week. He wrote a lot of the environmental code for Texas. You couldn't ask for a better guy.
Really? Okay, because I don't even know anything about this guy.
Win.
I don't know any.
Well, that's the thing.
But he's not putting himself out there, and he's got $30,000 in campaign contributions that he hasn't even spent. Like, what's he spent it on? Like, why did he not just I know he has a 40-hour a week job, but why are you not just hiring people to just go door to door and just blow through the $30K to get that W?
Well, they did just do the big ad spend. Matt McCowiak's PAC. I saw during the World Series during the Dodgers Rays.
Yeah, fine, but then but even with a guy like Matt, you're only appealing to a conservative echo chamber. You have to appeal to everybody with this stuff.
I agree. No, Louis is behind the 8 ball because he's a government employee, so he can't get donations from anyone who might bid on a government. I wish I would have helped him out earlier, and it seemed like he was sort of, he's got a 40-hour a week job with the government, and it's like it's his part-time job is running where. It seems like Mackenzie, and she has a business, but she has more flexibility.
So then
and it's really
run?
about how much time.
Then why didn't Louis find someone else to run who can actually spend the time to do this?
You'd have to ask him.
You know what I mean?
Don't know.
Like that makes no sense.
I'm not going to yell at somebody for not running.
I'm not yelling at someone. No, I'm not yelling at someone. But that's a legitimate question, right? Like, and I met Greg Casar. I like him. I've had positive interactions. Like when I met him in person, he's pretty cool. He like as a person that you would want to grab a beer or smoke a joint with. As somebody who I trust to like be leading the city as a government official, absolutely not. Some of the stuff he's doing is horrifying. And his field manager, I've hung out with him numerous times, and I love his field manager. Me and him are like buddies. And
Who was it?
Ramtin Farasad.
Oh, I just seen his photo. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that guy's super cool. Like, as a human being to hang out with, that guy's awesome to hang out with. Like, I have a lot of fun hanging out with him. Like, every time I see him, all we do is make jokes and stuff all the time. But as in terms of him being in a government position, that shit is horrifying. And I'm sure he feels the same way about me, so it's no hard feelings, right? But when it comes to this, right, like if you're that concerned about like some of Greg Casar's policies, which I get it, man, and I get it especially more so now since I'm working downtown and you're the stuff that you're doing with enforcing shutdowns and then enabling vagrancy and then how you're defunding APD with not giving any money to these small businesses. I get it. I don't want this guy in city council because of those specific reasons.
He just proclaimed lifelong allegiance to the Socialists of America.
Listen, I don't give a shit about that. I'll tell you.
He's a socialist.
Yeah.
And he just wants to distribute everything. You don't care about that?
I'll tell you what I care about. I care about the fact that he's actively making it harder for me to make a living here. That's what I care. That's the big concern. Is that you're actively making it harder for myself and the people around me and my friends to make a living here. That's my concern. And these are my legitimate concerns. And my legitimate concerns for why I don't like Greg Casar as a public official are the fact that you're promoting shutdowns, which you're gonna like expedite in the closing of small businesses. You're also making it harder for people like me and my friends to make a living, taking people to these establishments. And then when you're enabling vagrancy and you're defunding APD, you make downtown less safe and you decrease traffic downtown, so you make it that much harder for me and my friends to make a living and stay in Austin. And then
how about defunding the police by $150 million and 17 7-Elevens have gotten robbed?
I'm not arguing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
I'm just
and
pitching
we're going to talk about the Citizen app. We're going to talk about all this shit.
Contentious.
We're going to talk about all this stuff, okay? But I'm just giving you my legitimate, I have legitimate, clear, very understandable reasons that are not even partisan for why I don't like Greg Casar. That's what I'm trying to say. These are non-partisan. These are reasons because they affect me and affect my friends directly. And that being said, I understand why there's a lot of dislike for him. And just to expound upon that, if I were super committed to unseating somebody like that, I would make sure I had every ounce of time in the world to campaign and do this. And if I didn't, I would try to find somebody in that area who did. And if somebody like Louis Heron doesn't have the time and the ability to run a campaign the way they should be running a campaign, because this is a very important election, man, especially from a city council standpoint, you're not helping people, man. That's what I'm saying is that you can't make excuses. If you're going to run, you better be in it to win it, dude.
no one else stepped up to the plate. I don't
Nobody
see anybody else.
No one else did, but that's surprising.
No one else
though.
stepped up. And in my district, my choice was between your guest who was here, Morgan Witt and
Leslie Poole.
Leslie Poole. I didn't like either of them. I didn't want to vote for either of them. Why didn't anyone run in that race? Why didn't a Republican or somebody who had alternative? It's a great question. So you can't throw Lewis under the bus.
I'm not
and
throwing
say,
him under the bus.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to run that badly and you didn't know whether or not you're going to have the right schedule to do this, I would have tried to, like, hit up Matt, hit up Mackenzie, hit up anybody and take back Austin and see, hey, is there anybody in that district that can make this happen and make this work? I'm sure, like, you could have found somebody or at least made that within your thought process, you know?
You say that, but we didn't even – I looked so many – there wasn't a Republican challenger in a lot of races for judge and school board, and I would hope, and I understand where you're coming from, that somebody who had more time.
Well, dude,
but if there wasn't –
I'm not a Republican, like, legally.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't technically need to be a Republican. You just need to be a normal human being who has reasonable ideas to help, who wants to help people actionably. Like, these local elections are completely nonpartisan. Casey doesn't have a political party.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he was is he a registered Democrat?
I don't know, but I mean, he says he's independent. He's like, I don't belong to a party. I focus on issues. Mm-hmm. These are nonpartisan. Casey doesn't belong to a political party or associate himself with a party. He's an independent human being who just wants what's best for his community. And there are some good ideas of conservatism that he likes and some good ideas about liberalism that he likes. And that's how local elections should be.
I totally agree. And I feel the same way. I've been a registered Democrat. I've been a registered independent. I've been a registered Republican. I vote for the candidate and the issues, and the United States has changed a lot. Every decade there's different things that you're more concerned about. So I hope that you're right, but I feel like that hasn't been the case. That is an ideal scenario, what you just described, where it's nonpartisan and it's issue-based. But that's why I think so many Austinites are absolutely livid with the city council, because it hasn't been an exchange of dialogue and listening to resident input. It's our far-left agenda, defunding the police, and you look at all these Freedom of Information Act request things, and they're all just trying to push.
Wait, but Teddy.
Yep.
Is it really far left, or is it just they're exploiting far left ideology to promote and expedite displacement?
I don't think displacement's their number one goal. I think it's just greed.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like greed and their real estate interests.
Yeah.
Like are they really like
right.
far left? Like, because like if you're truly like far left, you aren't going to be doing the stuff that they're doing.
Well, it's like Matthew McConaughey said. We're guinea pigging this idea. Like, there's no civilized society that has tried defunding the police. And it's with crime escalating like crazy. It's literally like you're battling an inferno with firefighters, and you're saying, well, maybe if we have less firefighters, the fire will go down. That's what they're trying to say. And I agree with a lot of the core principles. If we have better education, a better family structure, we wouldn't have these societal problems that lead people to crime. But those will take a generation or a decade or something to really see the results. We're right here living with the immediate ramifications, the negative ramifications of defunding the police every single day here in Austin. And it's really, when you look, a UT student, Alex, in the month of October was either got robbed on the street or in their dorm or in their house, home invasions, once every 48 hours. Mayor Adler's an alumni of UT. That's your alma mater. And you're sitting there. Literally, 6 students got robbed on the street near San Jacinto and 24th, 6 dorm rooms. And it's like, this is wrong that college students are getting robbed on the street of Austin. And if you would have told me that 12 years ago that happened in 1 month, I mean, it would be the number one story on the news, every single newscast. And I don't understand how Mayor Adler can sleep at night with all the Shell station employees are getting shot. I would be terrified to work a retail job at a convenience store after 11 p.m. at night in Austin. You have a 1 in 5 chance. There's 77 7-Elevens in Austin. There's been 17 7-Eleven related crimes since August 30th. So you have what, a 1 in 3.8 chance of having a gun pulled at you or getting carjacked at 7-Eleven?
Yeah,
That's terrifying.
well, no, that is, and especially if you're gonna take someone to the 7-Eleven to get beer or get drinks, like you don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah, that is very scary. So this brings me to the next point. You got me put onto the Citizen app.
Yes.
So tell me about that, and tell me how you found out, and tell me how you found out about that, and also just to like backtrack a little bit. How did you become Teddy Brosevelt? How did this all start? I want to hear that. But first, talk about the Citizen app, and then talk about how did you become the man that you are today, the famous Teddy Brosevelt.
Wow, that was an impressive intro. Citizen app, I just, in May or June as the crime, I just heard sirens. I live in the Crestview, Brentwood area, and I just kept hearing sirens at all times of the day. And the Citizen app just, I think I read an article in Wired magazine, and it just talked about how their subscriptions just went through the roof after May with the protests and the riots or whatever. And so it sort of segues into how I got involved with the Teddy Brosevelt. So I'd say probably around June or July, I was tweeting crime updates on Citizen because I was just stunned and mortified that Austin News was not covering the major crimes unless there was a dead body involved. And then I started realizing I'm a journalism major. I have a master's degree in communications, and I'm a newspaper. When I lived in New York too, like you, I used to buy 3 newspapers: New York Times, The Post, Daily News, and read them cover to cover, almost every day. And Austin News is just the worst major metro news I've ever seen. And I've lived in a lot of major cities. They don't cover local crime. They just are puppets. They're PR puppets for city council. They'll parrot whatever from KUT to the Austin Chronicle's the worst, and we could go into them.
Oh, no, I dislike them, especially when I initially did my city council treasury stuff. The Austin Standards immediately just started making fun of me. He's like, don't take this guy seriously and this and that, right? Like, do not report on him unless you're going to make fun of him, and even that's questionable.
Dude, what you were saying to put a dome, it was sort of a tongue-in-cheek campaign. It was sort of a tongue-in-cheek, and I love you for it, man. I love you for it, but it was sort of a tongue-in-cheek campaign.
No. I understand.
The first time.
I understand, and that's why I responded. I'm like, okay, I get it. This campaign is going to be a lot different from the last. Just wait. And that's all I said. I'm like, just wait. This is going to be a lot different. And sure enough, I proved that it was a lot different.
Yes. Alex, you are, like I said, my nominee for Austinite of the Year. You're passionate. If everyone was as passionate and engaged and taking action as you, we'd be living in a utopia right now. So you're to be commended for that.
Well, it is also kind of crazy how accessible a lot of things are locally. I've met a lot of people. I've done this podcast. I'm just a guy who drives a pedicab in Austin. I've had 3 city council candidates come and talk to me already. In like less than 2 months. I had Robert Morrow talk to me. I had the former GOP chair for Travis County talk to me. I had John Bound talk to me. Like,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I've had people who are like pretty high profile. I had you're on my show. You're a Twitter influencer. Like,
what up? Sorry. Yeah. So Teddy, it gravitated towards making fun of the news, handing out my Ann Awards, the Awful Austin News Twitter feed of the day, because instead of they'd be tweeting about parrots fighting in a London zoo or a bison in Yellowstone National Park, Florida man, Florida crimes, nothing about Austin.
Nothing about Austin. Nothing.
Plenty of animals. Tim Hortons. I don't even think there's a Tim Hortons within 2,000 miles of Texas, but if you bring your dog into Tim Hortons, you get a free pumpkin spice latte. Just ridiculous. Yingling beer now has a chocolate porter. I'm like, I'm from Pennsylvania. I love Yingling. You can't buy Yingling in Texas. When anyone goes to Arkansas, they're like, let me give you $30 to bring back Yingling.
How do you still have like a lot of friends in PA?
I got friends all over.
Yeah, of course, everybody loves you, but I'm just saying, like,
tons.
Do you have tons of friends, family?
Tons.
What are your friends and family of all political spectrums saying about this election right now?
Pennsylvania is very unique, as James Carville said. It's Pittsburgh on one side, Philly on the other, and Alabama in the middle. It's very rural, deer hunter.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania. And it's basically flipped. All the people who were Union Democrats, Pennsylvania was a very strong Union Democrat, a Union state with coal workers and steel mines, and they voted Democrat across the board. And it's just like me. I do not recognize the Democratic Party of today. I feel like they are now the party of the elite. and the Republicans are the party of the working classes sort of switch. So
well,
my buddy
I don't
in
think they're
Bucks
the party of
County-
the working class. I think they're the party of the business class. And the business class and the elite are two different things, and that's what people don't understand.
Yeah, well, small business owners. All I know is people tell me in Pennsylvania, Bucks County, north of PA and around there, it's 50-1 Trump signs, lawn signs.
But that's rural PA, right?
Philly is super. I
Liberal,
mean,
yeah, my
they've got a
sister lives in Philly.
Soros-backed DA, Larry Krasner, and then I'll tell you what, with all the riots, that's why I was on the phone till 2 in the morning. I got buddies who live a mile from where Rocky ran up the art museum steps. So they're right there. And I think they've had 20 ATMs blown up in the last 72 hours, and everything was getting looted. My one buddy went to New Jersey to sleep last night because he didn't feel comfortable sleeping in the city of Philadelphia. So if people didn't vote, those riots, and that's the thing is I was talking with Mackenzie Kelly last night. If you don't have safety, that's like the bedrock of any society. Is you need to have law and order. You need to know that you're going to be protected if you go about your day. And it feels like that is breaking down here in Austin with the homelessness, the graffiti, and the crime wave.
Well, dude, these riots and the way in which cities are defunding their police departments, this is going to create a pathway towards fascism and lead us on the trail to a police state. It's what's going to happen, because dude, nobody ever would have thought that running a campaign on Law and Order would ever have any traction. Law and Order, like if somebody tweeted Law and Order as a presidential candidate 10 years ago, I'd be scared shitless.
Well, because there was no crime.
But do you understand what I'm saying, though?
But
like,
well,
10
you
years
look
ago,
Austin literally defunded our police more than anyone except for Minnesota and Seattle. It's literally those are the top three, Alex. Minneapolis, they just sued the city council, and it was a coalition of black leaders in the religious community who just said, enough is enough. We don't even feel safe going outside. Same with Seattle. Same with Portland. I mean, you have businesses, they're like, we're not concerned about coronavirus. We're not concerned about anything. We're concerned about the crime, because you can go in and steal up to $950 worth of items and walk right out,
No, dude,
and
I
there's
agree
a
with
parking
you.
ticket.
Dude,
So that's why I think Washington is in play. I'm telling you, even in Portland, you
Okay.
cannot tell your friends that, and I lived in Oregon too, you cannot tell your friends. It would be social suicide to say, I think Trump has even one good idea, much less say you're voting for him. But when you don't feel safe, like there's breweries who are like, we had to close for a couple days because we didn't have enough staff who felt safe coming down here and parking their car, because there's been so many break-ins, so many assaults, people on meth. It's just bad, and I feel like Austin has accelerated since March, and with the homeless ban, and I just see the homeless problem getting worse. I call it Austin Homeless Woodstock 2020. I mean, when we had that cold spell on Tuesday, Alex, there was 12 trash fires in 24 hours from people trying to keep warm. And like I said, I got a lot of compassion. I've been down on my luck before, man. I've been through some major adversity. I think I told you when we first met.
Yeah.
Got run over by a car and couldn't move by a drunk driver. That was only 2 years ago.
We also talked about like how you like, Bernie Sanders' universal health care policy and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. Universal health care. I believe cannabis should be legalized. I believe magic mushrooms. I know two people.
Dude, I love smoking weed.
If
We had a J right now, we'd be smoking it right here in this very location.
Charlie, you got any back there? No? Next time I'm
yeah.
bringing, because you can't get arrested for it in Austin. That's the only good thing
That's actually
city
a great
council
thing.
has
No, that's
done.
great. And even being able to drink in public is probably kind of cool too.
It is.
I'm like, I can't get mad about that. You know what I mean, dude?
They just did a study. It was a local law firm, and I think it was Texas is a $2.6 billion a year recreational cannabis market. We'd be making $100 million, and I feel like for anyone under the age of 50, it's such a non-issue, and it's all learned. Anyone over the age of 50, they grew up in this reefer madness, the devil's lettuce, whatever, and they don't understand.
You mean over the age, not under, over, right?
Anyone over 50 still might,
No, I don't know, man. Those are
and
like the first
conditioning.
hippies, though, dude.
That's true. Well, maybe in Austin it's not true, but legalizing cannabis, you look at Oklahoma right now, it is exploding. They've
Is it
created
legal?
Oklahoma medical is legal.
Okay.
But it's
isn't
super
medical
easy.
legal? Medical's legal
But
here
it's
too,
super-
right?
But it's so restricted. Only like 3,000 people can qualify for it.
Yeah, they need to fix that. But at the end of the day, a lot like conservatives are becoming a lot more socially liberal than they were 20 years ago. And that's another thing. Everyone thinks that like conservatism is all about the religious right and all this garbage. And I'm like, no, dude. Today's conservatives are almost like liberals of yesteryear.
Exactly. Well, it's like Paul Joseph Watson. I really believe like conservatism is the new counterculture because on the left, and what's so suffocating about them is, and I know you hate it too, is cancel culture is seriously the worst idea I've ever heard. It's the antithesis.
Because it's right wing. It's not even left. It's right wing. Like that's what hardcore right wing religious conservatives used to do, and now it's been co-opted by people who call themselves progressives. That's why it's infuriating because you're doing the same thing that the George Bush Republicans used to do in 2004, but now you're doing it. That's
exactly.
Why
it's like the PMRC.
That's
why.
That's why it's frustrating.
Yep. But the hypocrisy is what drives me crazy. Like the Spotify employees were all freaking out that Rogan had Alex Jones on this week. But I'm a huge hip hop fan. I know you are too. The lyrics in hip hop are way worse. Just towards women, you could pull out NWA or Snoop. I mean, and I love Snoop Dogg. I love NWA.
Dude, Ice Cube
not
also
the nicest if you're a Me Too proponent towards women.
Yeah. Ice Cube also endorsed Trump's platinum plan for business too.
Ice Cube, Lil Wayne just came out and endorsed.
Well, because 50 Cent, he doesn't want to be 28 cents.
I love that. I love that. I don't want 50 to be 20 either.
No, but here's the thing too, right? when it comes to this stuff, I think after this election, there's got to be a real emphasis on people coming together, no matter who wins the election, and depending on who wins, we can all come together in different types of ways, right? So if Trump wins the election, it's I know there's going to be a lot of unrest, and black people still feel like they don't have a voice, and there are a lot of wealth problems in the black community. They definitely get targeted probably more by law enforcement. They get profiled more. That's bad. We got to fix that. But one thing that's good is the fact that Trump's platinum plan seems like it's going to actually do a lot to help black businesses and help black communities and offer a lot of resources to those communities. And the thing that people need to really do is if Trump wins, people need to all come together, specifically black people, not specifically black people, right? To actually make sure that Donald Trump follows through on the platinum plan, and he's not just saying this as an election platitude to get black people to vote for him. Look, you know what I mean? Like that's what needs to happen. So if Trump gets elected, there needs to be like sit-ins at the White House, and they got to be respectful, right? Just say, hey, we're gonna hang out here until the platinum plan gets passed. Just pass the platinum plan, and we're sitting here, and we're glad that you brought this out to the forefront, and we just want you to pass the platinum plan, and we want to help people in low-income communities understand the stock market better and give them resources to take advantage of the deregulation that's coming with your presidency. That's what I think needs to be. I love that, but I would say if I was Trump, well, I have two proven huge things that I've done for the black community. Number one, he signed the crime reform bill that Kim Kardashian, and he pardoned several people. And that was a huge thing, and he reversed what Biden did, basically, the 3 strikes and you're out, Biden's crime bill. And number two, the head black, the HBCUs, the historically black colleges, they told Trump when Obama was president, they used to have to come every year and beg for money. Trump funded them for the next decade, beyond their wildest dreams. All that stuff is great, right? But what I'm trying to elaborate on is the fact that you can always act peacefully and respectfully get involved to get things to keep moving in a better trajectory. And just saying, hey, just reenact the platinum plan. That's all I want to do, and we're going to hang out here and we're going to make our voices heard so you can reenact the platinum plan. That's the most American thing you could do is to get involved in your government. That's how America is supposed to be. Look, let's say Biden wins, right? One of the things, and I said this to John Bound when he came, was that Joe Biden is probably going to be – no, he's definitely going to be better for the environment than Trump. If there's one thing that Joe Biden's going to be better about than Donald Trump, it's going to be the environment. That being said, you can't let Joe Biden's environmental policies expedite Agenda 2030. And expedite people being crowded into mega cities that are becoming increasingly unaffordable with no way out. And I remember when Obama was president, gas was what, like $5 a gallon or something like that. Like, it was crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and if cities are going to become more and more expensive because of urbanist policies, and then you're going to make gas $5 a gallon, you're going to not even allow people to escape the city and live in the country so they can actually work in the city and make a living. Like,
Alex,
that's hurting.
Teddy has to take a bathroom break.
Wait, one second. Hey, one
Hold
second.
I got to take a bathroom break.
Dude, I was literally on a roll.
I know. That's why I want you to keep going. Keep going. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in 30
well,
seconds.
I'm not going to remember what you're...
Come on. Keep going.
All right. Hurry up, Teddy.
I'm hurrying.
Hey, how much time? What time is it, Charlie? 7:25. Holy shit! So we've been going on for a minute. Yeah. Hey, whatever. All right. Anyway, what I was saying with all this is that. All right. What I was saying with all this stuff, when it comes to Biden getting elected, is that. All right. What I was saying, we're gonna wrap up in about 5 minutes. All right. All right. All right. What I was going to say to conclude on this whole Biden thing, is that if Biden gets elected, right, and gas prices start going through the roof, there needs to be a measure in place, or we need to start doing something where we start subsidizing electric vehicles to make, like, electric car companies and Tesla to start making electric cars at an affordable price. And you need to start having charging stations in rural parts of America, and you need to start doing a better job of incentivizing people and incentivizing homeowners to actually go full solar for having to power their house. So there's a lot of that stuff that needs to be put in place, and there's got to be like an effective way to organize in terms of how can we like fight climate change? How can we help protect the environment without creating a culture of urban density and poverty as a result of that? And I think that if Biden wins, look, we gotta do something where we're offering like really good tax breaks to electric vehicle companies, so we can have affordable electric vehicles, so that you don't have to live in a city. We have to do a better job of giving tax breaks to people who have solar panels all over their houses. And then when it comes to creating green jobs and implementing a Green New Deal, you got to pay the people who are doing these green jobs the same as you're paying oil field workers, and that's got to be the consensus. But anyway, we're about to wrap up. Gary, he has a beautiful 3-year-old son he's got to go take care of. We've been here for about an hour and a half. Okay. Charlie's got to go. I think we talked about a lot of stuff, right?
It flew by.
The
one thing I do want to say, and you embody this, Alex, is Austin is the friendliest, coolest city. Even with all this stuff going on, my daily interactions, Austin is the friendliest place. And we need to compromise. We need to communicate. This polarization and everyone just battling is not healthy. It's not productive. And I really think with people like you leading the way, Austin can be a beacon of light, showing people that compromise is the solution, not antagonizing and we're all in our own ideological boxes. It's not cool.
Let's hope, and let's also understand too that we got an election coming up in 3 days? Saturday, Sunday, like 3-4 days, right? We got an election coming up this next week. After this election, we have to come together no matter who wins and figure out how we can all benefit. And look, there are going to be ways to benefit from a Trump presidency, and people on the left need to realize that, and we should all come together to figure out how to do that. And there are also, I hate to say this, but there are also going to be ways to benefit from a Biden presidency, and we need to, if you're going to be on the right, you got to figure out how to objectively benefit from a Biden presidency while keeping your freedoms and while also preserving our environment. So that being said, thank you so much for coming, Teddy.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex. You're doing a tremendous job, man. You're awesome.
This has been an all-new episode of Convos in the Pedicab. It's the Halloween special, guys. Catch me downtown. I'll be giving pedicab rides. I'm wearing my mask to keep you safe. Anyway, guys, slow the spread. Enjoy your holiday.
Happy Halloween, y'all.